Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News at 10 starts now.
Very good evening to you. Welcome to ABC4 News. I'm Brian McElhatton. Sarah Murphy has the night off. We do want to thank you for being with us late tonight. The House and the Senate have both passed the resolution for the voters to decide on amending the Utah Constitution. That happened during today's special session. Our Jordan Tracy's following this from the state capitol, and he has more on what happened today. Jordan.
Good evening, Brian. Now, supporters of this amendment hope that it will provide clarity in what the state legislature can change in what ways they can change a ballot initiative or referendum after the Supreme Court decided that changes could occur under strict scrutiny, that it didn't, as long as it didn't change the intention of that law. Now, but opponents are saying that this was a rushed process that takes power away from the people.
I think this is unlikely to pass in November, but it is likely to give us the biggest black eye we've ever had as a legislature. I will be voting no.
Senator Thatcher, the lone Republican opposing this amendment, says the Supreme Court's ruling wasn't vague and doesn't change the way lawmakers can make changes to initiatives or referendums to fit into state law.
I do not believe that this limits us from anything other than unilaterally overturning a referendum without being able to defend that action.
Others disagree. Senate President Stuart Adams saying the court didn't define how lawmakers can make changes, setting them up for more lawsuits and more decisions being made from the courts.
It's really weird that they didn't define that and give us a definition of what our Constitution said. Maybe they don't know what it is, but we don't have a good definition of altering form.
Democrats call this an overreach.
I feel like that's a lot of overreach that we are inflicting upon our communities. My community is very upset about this resolution and very upset about being called into session. So I think that this is very far-reaching and broad, and we should be more thoughtful in this process.
They also say calling this special session is rushed, not giving time for the people to have more say.
The problem I have is the process that's being followed, and it's similar to what I view as my 4-year-old when he throws a tantrum. We don't like something that happens, so we're rushing in a fix.
The amendment would also stop foreign entities to fund pushes for ballot initiatives, something supporters say will make sure non-Utahns, like other countries, won't be able to push agendas in the state.
But now we have big money special interest groups that can seize on opportunities to go around the usual legislative process and enact binding law through sound bites and strategic PR campaigns.
The other element is that the amendment is retroactive and would apply to past initiatives if approved.
It's really an attempt to limit the constitutional rights of Utah voters. There's no other reason to make this retroactive. We had a good discussion on that. We are patronizing our constituents. We're telling them that we know better while feeding them a spoonful of sugar to make it go down a bit easier.
But debate is over. It's now in the hands of voters in November.
Now, obviously, a lot of sticking points there in that debate today during the special session, about this rushed process. But supporters of this explained that they felt that there is a fear of more initiatives being piled on. So this was the only time they could get in before the next election cycle, or else they feared that more initiatives would be added from those outside groups. The other thing is this definition of foreign entities, which they explained that they would look to do more legislation if this were to pass in order to define some of the terms in this referendum onto the amending the Constitution. So a lot of discussion to still take place, but as it comes to debate between lawmakers, it's out of their hands now. It's going to go to voters in November to decide whether or not they want to give this power to the legislature to amend, change, or even appeal a ballot initiative or referendum that they vote for on a ballot. But reporting live in the state capitol, Jordan Tracy, back to you.